and welcome to this week's episode of Futura Talks. I am so excited to bring you this topic. But before we jump into it, I wanted to just share that I'm going to be trying out something a little bit different today. And there you can see I already fumbled my words a bit, and this is where I'm going with what I'm trying out. So for the first several solo episodes that I've had about 4 now. So this is the 5th solo episode. I have really taken the time to super prepare for these episodes. And I mean, research and rewriting and re-recording and just, really trying to get it perfect and making sure that what I got out to you guys was just phenomenal, or at least the best I could do. And even with that, I still had so much self-doubt around, what I was putting out towards you guys. What I also realized in those moments, was that with the fact that I was preparing and essentially scripting the episode, mainly because I just didn't want to miss out on anything. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, a recovering perfectionist. And so I wanted to be able to give you my best examples and, I was having a bit of self-doubt on whether I could just jump on the mic and be candid and be unscripted and just give you Farrah as is, unfiltered, raw, with her ideas. And, to be honest, I felt good about it. I feel good about the material that I've put out so far. However, at the same time, part of the reason I started this podcast is because I have so many ideas, and these are ideas that I talk about daily. I talk about with friends. I talk about with my clients. I talk about with other female entrepreneurs. They are topics that come naturally to me and come naturally out of me to speak about. And so I felt the scripting was holding me back a little bit from just being really super raw and honest and candid. So today I am trying something new, and I am going to riff a little bit on a topic that I think is really important. Yes, I'm still prepared. There is a structure. I have notes. I have bullet points, but it's no longer a script. And I hope this goes well. And, I'm feeling a little bit anxious about it for sure, but I think we're going to get through okay. So bear with me. Interestingly enough, this week's topic, and I think it's a super fitting topic, given what I'm trying to do here today, is all about self-doubt. I chose to talk about this, especially with this episode, because as I've shared with you in this first, couple minutes here, I had a lot of self-doubt about being able to even just come on and speak to you guys without a script. I just thought, who's going to want to listen? Am I going to fumble my words? Am I going to lose listeners because, I didn't have this perfectly beautiful narrated story for you guys? And then I realized that this thing, self-doubt, is really the thing that holds so many of us back. So many of us are held back by it, and we stop or don't even start to fulfill on some of our dreams and desires because of doubt, especially self-doubt. It's super common amongst all the entrepreneurs that I speak with, like literally, especially I think amongst women. I'm sure men experience this too. Women are maybe a little bit more open about talking about the self-doubt that they experience. So many of my entrepreneur friends, it's a daily experience, like literally questioning every move, decision, action in their business, questioning how it's going to land with people, doubting if they're going to be accepted, doubting if their ideas are going to succeed. And I find that while I think it's healthy to have a little bit of doubt, the meanings and the feelings you have around it and what you attach to how you actually navigate through that doubt, that's where we really need to work on. So let's just dive into this episode. I think it's an important one. For me, I doubt myself a lot. Okay. I think the only difference is right now is that I now have this awareness about the self-doubt. So, before, maybe even just a couple of weeks ago, like I'm not some guru here who, is all of a sudden not doubting myself. I literally am doubting myself in this moment. But the difference between sort of how I was dealing with that self-doubt before, maybe even just a couple of weeks ago to now, is the awareness. And I think the awareness is really an important thing to notice. When you are aware that, oh, wow, okay, there's a little bit of self-doubt creeping in here, you can stop it in its tracks. And actually, once you have the awareness of it, it's actually really hard to go backwards from there. So before you have the awareness, though, you are just like a self-doubt machine, I think, literally. And we don't even realize like how much we do this to ourselves. But like I said, it's just like, okay, should I wear this? Should I make this decision? Should I jump on that call? Should I, put this social media post out? Like doubt after doubt after doubt. And it can be really debilitating. And I think it can really hold you back from just really expressing yourself and also really fulfilling on the dreams and desires that you have. So like, why does self-doubt really show up, right? Like, where does it come from? And why is it something that I think affects so many of us? Personally, for me, I think it really comes from the series of experiences that we have throughout our lifetime. From your upbringing to your jobs, to your relationships, to your family life. In my case, there were so many things in my life, there still are, that have sort of bolstered, what I would call negative self-talk. And it's come from, and I've talked about it, right? We've gone through 2 episodes already on my failure series. I'm sure I can do 2 more, or maybe even more. But like from failed exams, breakups, divorces, not getting certain jobs that I maybe applied for, job loss, being told I wasn't good enough, seeing and learning that I've made less than my male counterparts in the same role, helping, entrepreneurs to raise capital and really getting a lot of no and rejection and questions about the business. Like there's enough things happening out there to completely bolster this whole narrative of reasons of why I should be doubting myself, right? And then I sit back and say, okay, yes, all of that exists. And guess what? It exists for everyone. The difference being is, what's the alternative? To live a life where you don't even try anything, you play it super safe. And so then therefore you have nothing to really ever self-doubt about. To me, that's pretty boring and it's super unfulfilling. And in fact, I think there would still be self-doubt in that, because you might start doubting why you aren't doing the things you want to do. So it's like this weird symbiotic thing. The best way, I think, to get out of the self-doubt cycle is to just do the thing that you need to do, that you're doubting yourself about. And then you're going to prove to yourself whether you need to even have self-doubt about it. So for me, for example, this podcast was a big area of self-doubt. I bought the mic 2 years ago and I sat with this mic in action, not doing anything about it, because I was doubting whether anybody would want to listen, whether there was, whether I would succeed, all of these different things, whether I would be able to actually, show up each week. So many feelings of doubt. And yes, I know I'm only on episode 9, but guess what? The self-doubt around whether I can be a podcast host and whether I can launch a podcast is gone. And the only thing it took 2 years later was to just start the podcast. Right. And yes, I doubt myself whether I'm going to be the most successful podcast, but guess what? I don't care. I'm showing up for the few people. Well, actually, you know what? There's been hundreds of downloads. And like I sit back and I'm saying, Farrah, you're affecting hundreds of people and you doubted yourself. Now imagine that your voice wasn't out there. Imagine all those messages you're getting from the people who needed to hear your voice and your lesson that day didn't get to hear that lesson. Like that would not be good, right? So I think, like you said, I think you need to just, what best way to overcome it is to really just do the thing. that is so much easier said than done. I totally get that. But the feelings that we have when we have self doubt, or the meaning that we then associate and attach to that, because we start saying, I'm not good enough, I can't do this thing, or I failed at something before, I didn't get that job, I didn't get that promotion, I got fired, I was divorced, someone broke up with me. Like, all of those things you could easily attach a meaning of, like, I'm a failure, I'm not a success, I really shouldn't be putting myself out there, nobody wants to hear from me. That's all doubt, right? Like, that's all negative self-talk and doubt. But really, all of those experiences that you've had, they're really meant to help you grow and feel empowered, and not to feel small by them. Those things are your story. Your mess is your message, and you are stronger for those things. And that strength that you get from the things that you've gone through that you could easily just start doubting yourself about, that strength is really what you need to use to help yourself to keep going, but it also helps you to help others. So I really, really think that you need to look at all the things that you're doubting yourself about and say, why am I doubting myself? Like, this stuff is making me stronger. When you doubt yourself, you really prevent yourself from trying, right? Now, the difference is when you try something, let's say you try something and you totally fail at it, right? The difference there is you can try again. You can tweak, right? You can find a better way. You can fail your way to success, in fact, but you cannot sit in inaction and achieve success. It's just like, it just doesn't happen, right? So you got to get rid of the doubt. You got to put yourself out there. You've got to try. I also feel like when we doubt ourselves, we're sort of putting out this frequency of an energy level, let's just call it, into the universe that is not really an energy level where you can manifest your dreams from. Like, if I'm sitting here doubting myself, but I'm like, I am going to be this super successful entrepreneur, I want to speak on world stages, and I want to travel globally and inspire people with my voice, but I doubt myself in the same moment, like, I cannot actually call the thing that I want into action, right? They just cannot exist on the same plane. They're at different planes of energy fields. I think in addition to that, just to expand on it a little bit further, now, if I'm sitting here doubting myself, yet I want to manifest all these things, how am I ever going to expect that anybody else is going to believe in me to do those things? Right? You have to believe in you first. Actually, you have to believe in you no matter what anybody else says. That belief has to be so strong that the doubt could be there, but you have to quiet it and you have to squash it as quickly as you can. And I think it's super important for anyone who is, an aspiring entrepreneur, leader in their organization, anyone who has desires and dreams, which I think is all of us. When we're doubting ourselves, we're not in a place to be able to manifest that dream. But like, it's just time to stop playing small, right? That negative narrative in your head that goes on a reel each day, it's super draining. Like, you cannot manifest from that place. So how do we start to overcome self-doubt? Like, I think I've kind of hammered home that self-doubt really needs to come out of our daily experience. But how do we transition? And, I think, first of all, I want to say, like, look, I always used to say this to my team that I managed back in my sort of like finance private equity days. Most of us are not surgeons. Okay. Most of us that are probably listening right now, we are not in the business of saving lives. We are in the business of saving lives, potentially in the perspective of the impact we can have, but our daily actions, if we do or do not do something, like, no one's going to die on the operating table in front of us, unless you are a surgeon. But guess what? Even if you are a surgeon, you probably have self-doubt. You might not know if that's going to be a successful surgery. What I'm trying to get at, though, is because we're not in business of, saving lives on an operating table, you need to just go out there and do the thing you need to do, because no one's going to die because you did something wrong. And what's really wrong, right? Like, you fumbled your words, you got stuck for a few minutes or 30 seconds there while you tried to get out what you wanted to say on a podcast. Like I have doubt right now as I'm speaking, but what's worse, like me not speaking, me not saying the thing I need to say to you guys because I'm doubting myself too much. So that's what we have to remind ourselves. Like, nobody is going to get hurt with me just putting myself out there. So I just need to stop doubting myself. And guess what? Half the times, like this episode right now, if I really don't like it, I do not have to push send, or release the episode. I'm going to, because like that's the whole purpose of this episode today. But, let's just think about that. Like, you could do something and maybe nobody will ever see it, right? You could record a TikTok, which I haven't done yet, a reel, which I also haven't done yet because I have a bit of doubt around it, but I'm going to be putting myself out there more. But you don't have to hit send, but you got to try. You got to try. You got to record the thing. You got to stand on the stage. You got to, get the mic, and then you got to use it. And what's amazing about when you do start using your talents or doing the things that you've always wanted to do, you're able to use those talents for good, to help others. Like, I really hope that this podcast is helping others. And in doing so, though, you start to get over the self-doubt, right? So you're doing something good, you're putting your voice out there, you're helping someone, and you're also getting over the self-doubt. So you're reinforcing that, look, I need to stop doubting myself. What I'm saying here today matters. It hopefully matters to one person, but I know it matters to hundreds already. But I think we also need to start doing is, instead of just like criticizing ourselves, we've been doing it for years. Let's be honest. All of us here, I think, have probably been criticizing ourselves for years. What about trying on something different? What about trying on approving of yourself instead and just see what happens? I've tried this out. Okay. I'm trying it out as we go. I listened to some of my podcast episodes back, which people tell you don't do. I've listened to just a couple of them back, and I could nitpick on, I wish I had said that. I wish I had asked that question. Oh my gosh, I fumbled my words. But then I tried to listen with a different ear. I actually tried to listen and say, what if this wasn't you speaking, Farrah? What if you just heard this person? Okay. Like, remove yourself from it. Wow. You would be like, okay, this girl's putting herself out there. You would accept, you would approve. And the compassion that we give to others, we need to start giving to ourselves. We need to give ourselves that same self-compassion, empathy, and approval. We need to stop criticizing ourselves. But I implore you to try it. Just try it on. Try it on for a day, a week, a moment, whatever it is, and see what shifts in you, what shifts in your body, what shifts in your mind when you just start approving of yourself. And maybe if it helps for you to do this, like, think about some of the people that you really admire. Okay. Think about if they probably have some self-doubt. They probably do. We all do. It's normal. It's natural. It's such a human experience. But when you're there and you look at their abilities and, you're saying like, okay, here's this person I admire. They may have some self-doubt, but guess what the difference is? They are still showing up. They are putting themselves out there. A lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, Farrah, you're a really natural speaker. You're so confident when you're on a stage. Like, it seems like it's so natural to you to be up there. Are you kidding me? I have so much self-doubt when I'm doing those things. Yes, I love being on stages. I love speaking. I love using my voice. I get so much energy from it, but I still have self-doubt. The difference is that I put myself out there, and over time, I've built the confidence, right? I'm building the muscle. And the only way to do that is to get over the doubt, right? Like, literally before I go on a stage, I just squash it. I give myself a pep talk. I also do an envisioning exercise of what it's going to feel like to give that talk, who's going to be in the audience, what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to feel after. Like, I do this whole ceremony almost to get myself in the right headspace before I go on. But there's still some doubt always, and certainly some butterflies, and also depends on who's in the audience and all this stuff, right? It's a work in progress for me. I am not sitting here and saying I do not have moments of self-doubt. I have them daily. Like I said, the difference is the awareness. And it's more recent. It's not like I've had this awareness for a long time. But like I said, once you see it and once you have it, you cannot lose it. I just know how to stop myself, before I get there. I also try to tell myself that doubt that's coming in, it's not me. Okay. It's not Farrah. It's my alter ego. Let's call her Felicia. Okay. It's Felicia. Felicia is the one doubting and all this negative self-talk and saying all these things. It's my alter ego. When I can separate the doubt from me, Farrah, showing up who I am, my true and authentic self, who I'm supposed to be in this world. And I'll take this from my coach, which is an affirmation that she has given me. And I really believe in having a coach. And I'm going to actually spend an episode on that as well in the future. But this is an affirmation that she, has given me in the group that I'm in, which is that I am Farrah. I am whole, perfect, and complete as I am. And I sit there and I'm saying, that is the real Farrah, not Felicia, not the one who is the alter ego, who's doubting and has all this negative self-talk. I'm whole, perfect, and complete as I am. And I believe that to be true about myself. And so I'm going to then manifest my dreams from that place, because you really cannot manifest from the other place. All you do from the other place is manifest more self-doubt. Okay. So you need to be able to separate the two and say, who is Farrah really? Who is she in her heart? Who does she want to be in the world? How does she want to give back? That is the true version of yourself. And you need to spend some time being honest about who that really is. And if that person is super deep down, it's time to start bringing it out. The world wants to hear from you. The world wants to see that person. That is how the universe wants you to show up, is as your best self in your highest capacity. So the other thing I can say too, sometimes the doubt comes because we haven't been recognized, right? Someone hasn't given us an opportunity. Someone bypassed us and went on to another candidate. We didn't get recognized. We don't have the platform. Guess what? That has happened to me so many times. This podcast, I created it. I created my own platform, my own opportunities, my own content, my own thoughts that are coming out. Have I waited? I don't have a sponsor. I don't have anyone who is paying for this podcast even. I'm doing this. I'm putting it out there for you guys. I'm creating my own stage. That's the beauty of this. You can give that to yourself at any point in time. If you have doubt about something that you want to do because no one's recognized you, go and do the thing anyways. Today, there is so many ways in which you can manifest. And maybe for you, it's not, podcasts or, speaking on social media or being on stages. Maybe it's that you want to be a coach or you want to be a consultant or you want to do the work that you do in your current job. You just want to do it for yourself. Guess what? It does not take hundreds and millions of dollars to start a business anymore. It actually doesn't take anything. Just all it takes is you starting. So, I always say you do not have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And I've also said, let's just not even put the pressure on being great, right? Let's just do the thing. And if we're happy and fulfilled doing that thing, guess what? We probably will be great at it. And yes, doubt will creep in along the way, but you just have to do the thing. And when you start doing that thing, what's amazing is all those people who didn't give you the platform, who didn't recognize you, that you were waiting to kind of call on you for your moment, they start coming to you. And actually, not just them, others too, maybe others that you never even thought about start coming to you. I have been really kind of humbled over the last few weeks. I have been getting inbound requests to be on my podcast, which is super flattering. I don't mean flattering for me. I feel and maybe I do mean flattering. I feel good about the fact that I have put out something that I doubted myself about, but I put it out there. And now I have a platform to showcase others and their story. And that's resonating with people. And they want to come and they want me to be able to feature them. Like what an amazing gift that I can give to others to be able to do that. It feels very good. But I would not have been able to realize on that if I didn't even start the podcast, if I doubted myself. The other thing I want to say is, and I'm going to wrap it up soon. I don't even know how long I've been going on for. Like, this is my first sort of like I said, unscripted episode, but I do have a couple bullet points. I want to get this one in, is to invest in yourself. Sometimes we have a lot of doubt about making investments in ourselves, whether it is taking off the 3 to 6 months and using your savings. Like I'm not giving financial advice here. Okay. A lot of people are, okay, I'm going to backtrack a bit. A lot of people are coming to me because they're like, okay, how did you start this business? I can't really leave my job. I have, I have kids, I have mouths to feed. I get all of that. I totally get all of that, but they have the desire. Okay. So they have the desire. It's already there. They know they want to do something entrepreneurial, but they are doubting whether they can actually achieve on that. First, I would say make a plan. But what I will say is, if you're in a place where you know this is a dream of yours, find a way to start saving 3 to 6, probably a little bit more, let's say 6 to 8 months aside, that if you were to invest in yourself, and I call that an investment, because that money is going to be used to sustain you for 6 to 8 months. Be realistic about what that number is while you go out and start to manifest on your dream, your entrepreneurial dream. Okay. I'm going to devote more of an episode to just this in and of itself. And you will be surprised by yourself that it might not even take 6 to 8 months. When you have all of those other things around you, the negative work environments you might be in, the unfulfilling jobs, like if all of that is gone, all of that noise is gone, and you're getting to actually do the thing you love, you will be surprised by how fulfilling it is, B, how good, you feel about finally doing something that you're meant to be doing. And when you're in that space, the abundance will flow, the opportunities will come in. You will be operating at a different frequency than where you were in that stuck place. So if you have some doubt, like I said, I am going to devote a little bit more of an episode to just this topic about investing in yourself, believing on yourself. We so easily invest in others. This is kind of more the point I want to make today. We doubt ourselves, but we don't doubt others. We invest in others. We take their course. We sign up. We buy their products. We literally give our money away to fund everybody else's dreams all the time, right? We even give it to Apple and Google. Like we just literally, Sephora, that's my big one. We give our money. Someone started Sephora. We are funding Sephora, the founder of Sephora's dreams. You should be able to simultaneously, or if not first, think about funding your dream. Okay. Do not doubt yourself. If you doubt yourself, nobody else can believe in you. Okay. So I know I've riffed for a little bit, like I'm hopefully we'll get a little more succinct with this and a little bit more of a flow, but what I'd like to do now, because I thought this was really fun in the last episode that I did, is to kind of just share some quotes. I find that quotes are such an easy way to like shift out of like, or reframe, I guess, our thinking around a certain topic. So I've pulled a few quotes on self-doubt. I'm going to share them with you now, and then we'll close out the episode. Here's the first one. Self-doubt kills more dreams than failure ever does. And that's from Susie Kassem. I think this is so true, right? Like we have these dreams, but we doubt ourselves. And, if we failed at something, sure, we could try again. But if we don't even start and we doubt ourselves too much, like that dream dies there. Okay, next quote is from Dennis Waitley. It's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you are not. And this one really resonates with me. Like I said, we are all whole, perfect, and complete. But if you don't believe that about yourself, right, that's what's going to hold you back. So it's really time to start shifting what we believe about ourselves and really being honest with that deep down desire of what's true about you, what you really think about yourself. All right, this one is like, obviously, probably heard it from Steve Jobs, which is don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. This one to me has sort of been the biggest lesson for me, or the one I've had to really learn over this last year. I've spent a lot of years listening to the voice of others, family, coworkers, friends, business partners, romantic partners, to the point that I felt like I was crowdsourcing my own opinions on everything, right? That I couldn't even form a thought, or I could, but then I would completely replace it with whatever that other person thought about the thing. And I've really had to have had to do a lot of work with the help of my coach, actually, to listen to my own inner voice, to trust my own inner voice, to be the authority in my own head. And it seems weird, right? Like, shouldn't we always all be the authority in our own head? But I'm pretty sure a lot of you out there let the opinions of others kind of hijack what you really feel about yourself or what you really think about a situation. Like, half the things we don't need to talk to anyone about. We know what to do, but yet we go and crowdsource. And then we are like, oh, okay, that person said this. Maybe I shouldn't do this thing, or I should do it differently. Like, if you know what you want to do, if you know who you are, do not crowdsource your opinions. Like that's my advice on that one. Steve Jobs, thinks so too. The next one doesn't have an attributed author, but I still really like it. You're busy doubting yourself while so many people are intimidated by your potential. Like, this one to me is super powerful. I think the chances are that you have a lot of humans around you who see your potential, but that's not what is important here, right? What is important is how you see yourself. What is important are the stories that you tell yourself. And most importantly is what you actually believe about yourself. I believe for myself that I have infinite potential to do amazing things in this world, to help others have impact. And guess what? I believe this about each and every one of you too. But the question is, do you? I hope that after today, there is no doubt in your mind about that. And I sincerely hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm going to leave you with one last quote, and I hope it leaves you very inspired. And this is from Leanne Womack. When you get the choice to sit out or dance, I hope you dance. Thank you, everyone.